The interesting thing is that people who make under $30,000 a year in the United States are spending more than $400 a year on average on just lottery tickets alone. It's a guaranteed route to being broke. I mean, you're not gonna win the lottery. It's spending money on hope. You have a better chance of being hit by lightning than you do to win the lottery, but that's what people are doing because now you're just looking for the easy way to make some money and get rich, because many times in the situation, you don't know any other option. And then you have no money left over for your savings and you have no money left over for your investments. So you make money, whether it's from the government or a job or a side hustle, and then it all gets spent. Maybe it gets spent on food, maybe it gets spent on your housing, maybe it gets spent on some liabilities like luxuries because you want to have the nice stuff, and then it gets spent on the get rich quick stuff, and then you have nothing left for yourself. I know a lot of people who own convenience stores, and the whole mindset behind convenience stores is when the first of the month or the first week of the month, when those EBT cards get refueled by the government, that's when the pop, the soda, the chips, the candy, all the junk food is gonna be sold because now people have money in their card. People are gonna go spend all that money in the first week. This is like a common trend that when somebody gets an EBT card, the whole money gets spent within the first week of getting that card, and it's all on a bunch of junk. And if you're buying it from one of these convenience stores, guess what? You're also paying a premium for it because they have to have their own markup versus going to one of the bigger stores. Now, I know every one of the people that I know who owns a convenience store is gonna hate me for saying this, but this is the reality. So much money gets spent on unnecessary junk liabilities where you can start turning this around. The way it works for the majority of people is a little bit different. Now, this is what people typically call the middle class, maybe even the upper middle class, where now you work a good job, you're putting some money aside for investments, and you think you're doing everything right to become wealthy, but there's always gonna be a limit. So the way it works here is you go out and get a job. So you probably went to college, you have some degree, you went out and you got a job, and now you're working to climb the corporate ladder. As soon as you get paid, you pay your taxes, and then you go out and you spend money on liabilities. I don't know why I wrote LA, but we'll call it liabilities. And then whatever's left, you will save, and you probably have some investments with a 401k or an IRA or something similar. In this situation, you have one stream of income, which is a job, which is what we're all taught to do. We go to school to get a job. That's what we're taught. But that also means that you're just one step away from being broke. Because now if your company goes under, or if you get fired, or if you can't work anymore because you get injured, well, now you lose a stream of income, and now you have no income to fund the rest of your lifestyle. So you're one step away from being broke in this situation, and then you pay your taxes, and then you spend a big chunk of your money, and then whatever's left gets saved. Now, this 401k could be here after taxes or before taxes, depending on whether or not you have a Roth 401k or a regular 401k or a Roth IRA or a regular IRA, but this is the extent of investments for the majority of Americans. About half of Americans have no investments at all, including a 401k or an IRA, and out of the other half, the majority of those people only have a 401k or an IRA. This is for the majority of people the holy grail of becoming successful, and the way that you can maximize your success now is by earning more money from your job. Maybe you go out and get a higher degree, maybe you go out and get a promotion, that way you can earn more money, and that way you can put more money into your retirement accounts. That way you can go and become wealthy. So you have more money coming in, you can buy nicer stuff, you can have nicer liabilities, you can drive a nicer car, you can have a bigger home, you can go on better vacations, and then you can put more money into your 401k or your IRA. But what you'll see is that in this path, you will never go and become that 1% or that 0.1% because there's going to be a limit to what you can do here. For the majority of people, this is going to be somewhere between a couple or a few $100,000 and maybe a couple $1,000,000, maybe a few $1,000,000, but that's it. Then what the wealthiest people do is they earn money not from a job, but from a business that they own. And even if you're not an entrepreneur, there are ways for you to capitalize on this, which I'll go over in just a second. And then they will spend money, and then they're gonna pay taxes, and then they'll spend more personal money, and then they will continue investing. So they invest here, they invest here, they invest here. And so it's a little bit different, and you'll see why the taxes here make such a big difference than here. The wealthiest people, the wealthiest 1% and the wealthiest 0.1% are not working for a salary. They're working for ownership, they're working for equity, and they're working for profits. That's why they're not working for a salary like the majority of people. They're working for the profits from a business. Now, the first thing that you have to understand, because I know everybody watching this, hearing this is saying, well, I wasn't born with rich parents, I wasn't born with millions of dollars, somebody like me can't do this. But the reality is, the first thing you have to understand is it's a mindset shift to go from here to here to here. Okay, nobody, or I guess should say most people, most successful people are not given millions of dollars to start. Nobody gave me $1 million to go out and start a business. I was discouraged from being an entrepreneur. Nobody wanted me to do it in my family. No one in my friend circle knew what I was doing. Nobody understood what I was doing. I was made fun of a lot, but I had to learn, and it all starts with the mindset. Okay, so you have to become wealthy in the mind before you can become wealthy in your bank account. Once you build that minority mindset, you understand that it's possible, then it's understanding the differences. The reason why the minority of people, wealthy people, don't work for a salary, why they work for the profits, is because it's completely different. Because now you're not just working for your labor, you're working for ownership, you're working for equity. We live in a capitalist society. This is something that I made a video on not too long ago, but we live in a capitalist society. And what that means is that there's two ways that you can earn money. You can earn money from your labor, which is your salary. You go to work, you put in your effort, and you get paid. Or you can get paid from your capital, which is your money. And this is where the wealth is built in our society. Now, you can hate it, or you can learn the rules to the system. And this is where you need to learn the rules of money, because this is what wealthy people do. They understand the rules. And so now, if you don't have millions of dollars, well, what do? Well, you just start working through your labor. You start earning this money, and then you have to work for the equity, which means you need to put the capital to work, which is why you want to make money from this business. Now, if you are not an entrepreneur, the next best thing is you can go out and start investing in real estate. And the next best thing is you invest your money into companies. That way now you're getting ownership in companies. That way now you're not just working to climb the corporate ladder, you're working to own the corporate ladder, because now you own a piece of the companies, you own a piece of the profits. The easiest and most accessible way to do that is through the stock market. This is where things get really different, because now you can spend money before taxes when you have this sort of business, because now anything that is a business expense can now be potentially deducted. For example, I run a business and I have to have a cell phone, my iPhone, to run my business. That is a business expense. I have to have a laptop. That's a business expense. I have to pump gas in my car. That's a business expense. So all these things now can start becoming business expenses that you also use in your lifestyle. Now, you have to also understand that the expenses that you now deduct from your taxes, they have to be related to your business. But once you start to become more here, everything becomes work. Everything becomes business. And this is where you have to also decide if that's the type of lifestyle that you want to live or not. Like, I'm here in San Diego and I'm here for work, which is why I get to deduct the Airbnb that I'm in. I get to deduct the car that I'm driving. I get to deduct the other expenses that I have here. But I get to explore sunny San Diego while I'm doing my work. For the majority of people, these expenses that I just talked about are after-tax expenses. If you want to get a phone, you want to get a car, you want to get any of these expenses, you want to travel, well, that has to be after-tax dollars. So you make money, you pay taxes, and then you can only spend what's left. Well, if you have your own business, if you create your own income, you can flip it, because now you earn money, and if you can spend that money in a way that's going to benefit the business, and this is very helpful here to have a good tax advisor and a tax accountant to help you with this, because there's a lot of rules and regulations, but it's all a game. You want to ask the right questions of how it can be deductible, not what is deductible. It's how can you make it deductible. Once you do that, now you can spend money, and then you only pay taxes on whatever's left. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the shorter clip from my longer videos, here's another clip that I think you'll love. And if you're interested in learning more about how to invest your money in the stock market, our team put together an amazing guide that will walk you through how to invest your money in the stock market, what the stock market is, different stock market strategies, and how to build wealth in the stock market. This guide is completely free when you sign up for our daily newsletter. So if you want to read this guide, all you got to do is click that button right over there. Thank you for watching, and as always, keep hustling.